Oh, awesome. It looks like I am on there. Before we are going to start, I must tell that there is a problem with my voice, so don't worry, I'm fine. And well, let's start. Welcome to the webinar that's about DirectTake launching a new version, the 3.0. And today I'm going to cover the functionality, the features of the software, and also to tell you about the future plans that we are going to work after the official release is done, which is planned for the really nearest time, probably today, tomorrow, or probably Monday. You'll know about the release time. We'll get you a notification. Okay. Actually, why we started to work again on the DirectTake? Because the previous version was kind of all-in-one solution. It could do almost everything you can imagine to work with video, to do with video, like a simple playlist management, network streaming, files recording, scattering of recordings, and a lot of stuff like color management and graphics overlay. And well, after that, well, it was really hard to support all the features within a single application, so we decided to work in just one direction and create an application that does just probably one job, but does it really well. And so we, based on the feedback of DirectTake users and clients and testers, we redesigned it from the scratch, and here it is how it looks like when you start it. We designed DirectTake to be multi-view first, so you can control all the streams that you record from the start without the tabs and stuff like this. So everything you need to have to record multiple channels at the same time is in front of you within a single application. So the parts of the software are the main grid with the channels that you will use for recording to control the records. The left panel about the sources from where the video comes to your application, and the right panel is about the destinations, the configuration of how you would like to the video to be recorded, the folders where to store the files, the duration, the encoding configuration, and stuff like this. The top part of the application is for synchronous recording control, where you can choose what sources should be recorded at the same time, and actually start, stop, and pause the recording. Also, there are file and help menu about additional properties. We will talk about them a bit later. The button about the settings, and the grid size, like you can work with 16 channels and, for example, 1 or 9, and for the demo purpose we will work with a single, with a 4 channels grid. So let's start with the sources. The DirectTake is based on the MediaAux Video SDK, so technically it can support whatever is possible to use with the Video SDK itself. So you have available hardware sources, the NDI sources, and we also bring integration with our remote video transport solution. So you can use the video transport in combined with DirectTake to record your remote streams on a single machine. And for example, for the hardware, there are Dicklinks, AJA, Bluefish devices supported, like web cameras. For NDIs, there are, you know what NDI is, there are available streams. And for video transport, there are feeds that comes from the video transport receiver, if you use the virtual output for them. For the moment, I don't have any available sources for video transport except for the virtual signals that are generated by the SDK itself. For this webinar, I'm going to use the NDI sources, like I have prepared here. You can name the source, like source 1, like demo, take source. And select the audio device to mix the embedded audio with, for example, external microphone, or to mix it with the loopback audio from your PC, from your sound device. So let's save the source, and we can choose any channel to preview it, like here, or drag and drop it to the target one. And this is basically the preview part, where you can see the source. You can reset it, for example, choose another if there are any. Let's prepare another NDI source, for example, like this, and let's name it like source 1. Oh, let's then just change the source like this. Okay. And let's focus on the destinations. The destinations include two parts. The first one is an encoding preset. It's actually the configuration for the recording of the files. So you can create a new one or use an existing one that are stored on your machine, or you can share them with different machines later. And if you create a new preset, you can set its name, like just reset, and set the encoding container for the files recording, like MOV, the video codec, the bitrate, for example 10 megabits, the keyframe interval in frame units, like so let it be like 30, the audio codec for AAC, for example, and the timecode source. If we use the timecode from the source, we use the embedded timecode that comes with the signal. The system time actually makes the recording to be synchronized with local machine time. Or we can disable the timecode completely to get rid of it in the resulting file. So let's use the system time, for example. The configuration panel here, with this field you can get the configuration of the encoding engine to share it with our team, for example, or to ask for some kind of specific configuration to implement it. So you can just type or copy paste the configuration to this field and save the preset to use the configuration for further recordings. Okay, let's save the preset. Let's name the destination like webinar test. With the location, we choose the folder where the files should be stored and the option to override the existing files. The after split, every field makes the direct take to split your video in equal chunks based on the frames. So if you set, for example, the 30 minutes and, well, the frames doesn't match actually the 30 minutes interval and kind of slightly more or less, the resulting files will be equal with frame accuracy. The naming template, the frequently asked feature of that came from the previous direct take version. With this, you can configure the resulting file names. For example, to use the source name, destination name, the date and time, or for example, a time code of the source as a template for resulting file names. So, for example, if we use the source, hour, min, and sec, then the resulting files for the demo direct take source will be like demo direct take source and the current date and time of the moment when we start the recording. And you can change the configuration, like add it here, and type some symbols to split the names with different separators. Okay, let's set the destination. You can use the destination in the similar controls by just checking the option here, or just by drag and drop it here. That's actually it, and we are ready to start our recordings. For independent recording of each channel, just can press the recording button, and that's it. The recording is started, and we can control it, like pause it, or we can resume it, or we can stop it, and we can check the recording files later. Then, to start the synchronous recording, you can enable the channels to be synchronized here by setting them here in the list of synchronized channels, or just by enabling or disable the in-sync button for each of the target channels separately. And then once we are ready, we can click the start synchronous recording button, and all the frames started to be encoded in the synchronous way, and we can control by pausing or stopping the recording. And when we stop the recording, they are completely frame accurate. So let's stop it. For the synchronous recording, there is a kind of interesting moment that we need to cover. Is the moment is if the sources are of different frame rates, then it is not possible to get them synchronized. For example, if we have a 30 frame rate frames per second input and a 25 frames per second input, then we need to convert them in a single in the resolution and the frame rate that match each other. For this, there is a setting for the conversion. When we enable it, we set the conversion for all the sources that is in use at the moment by the application. So we can choose the resolution among this SD, HD, Full HD, UHD, the frame rate, the different options, the options for interlacing conversion. For example, if the feeds are of like PAL or and the progressive, then we need to convert them to make the frames similar. And the audio conversion part to match the audio parameters like sample rate, audio channels, and the bits. When it is specified one of them, we can just click the save button to change the frame rate of the recorded files. And then we can start the recording again. That's basically the workflow of the direct take, and there are different preferences for the projects that I'm going to tell you right now. There are here in the file menu. You can save and load the projects, like save it to some kind of DT file, and load it after the session is necessary, for example. And the most interesting part in the file menu is the preferences, where there are different options for the general direct take behavior. The log files are actually to control what happened with the direct take. If something went wrong, you can simply share the files with MediaWorks team to get understanding of what can be done to improve the performance or to make the application even better. The preview refresh rate is an option to, sorry for the construction sound in the background. The preview refresh rate is to make the preview kind of slower. You see, the frame rate of preview is slower to keep the CPU resources, because the preview kind of takes a lot of resources for displaying. And when you work with, for example, UHD resolution and 60p input, you probably don't need to see all the frames on the preview, but you need to keep them recorded properly without any drops, breaks, and in this case it's possible to just decrease the preview frame rate to keep the CPU usage lower. But let's keep it default and see all the smooth preview. The load last project on startup is kind of self-descriptive, and if we enable it, then the direct take will tries to initialize the previous session, the previous project, when you start it again. The stretch video preview is to make the direct take to maintain the aspect ratio on the preview, or to stretch to the whole control. So see the difference on the preview and the background. The always display audio meters was requested by one of the beta testers, and thanks for this request. And when we enable it, the audio meters on each of the preview will be displayed without the. I'll show you it in one moment without the mouse movement. And run the system startup is an option to start the direct take right after the machine is started. Once again, sorry for the sound. So let me show you the backgrounds. This is how it works. So you see the audio meters. There is no audio preview. The audio meters are required just to find out whether the audio comes from input or not. And that's actually it for the preferences. And the help button includes the about, where the information about the application is stored, the checking for updates to get information if there is a newer version available, the contact with Meteor support, and the request the license, where you where you type the email address and send the request to our account team to get the license for direct take. That's basically it for the general overview of the direct take functionality. And let me share some future plans about what we are working on right now and what we are going to work in the future. Right now we are working on the remote control functionality, some kind of REST API to control and monitor the direct take remotely. Well, other features are recording scheduling and a crazy little thing called file recovery utility. For example, if the machine just crashed because of electricity blackout or something like this, then you can start the recovery utility and restore the video that that you were recording for a long time, for example. This won't restore the 100% of the video, but you will have kind of all the duration minus a couple of seconds of the recorded video. So this is kind of interesting feature to be sure that your video won't be lost. And the most important future plan is to integrate professional encoders into the direct take, like AVC Intra or XAVC encoders, to make it really professional one. And this feature is planned for example, I think we will have it by July or August, and this will include completely a bit different license. So the direct take, like as it is right now, is just a kind of basic version, and we will release a professional one. But still, this one, the direct take, this current implementation is kind of nice, easy to use, and really professional solution for multi-channel recording. That's it probably, and I'd like to answer on your question if there are any. Let me check. Hi Rob. Yes. And about the time code for all the files, well, this is something I'll think about how we can implement it in the best way. Probably there will be kind of option to share the time code between the different sources. It's really interesting to have kind of LTC or Genlog time code initialized here to the future processing, further processing of recorded video, and it's really something that we need to decide and discuss with the team. And actually, about the delay of NDI, it needs to be measured properly, but well, as far as I remember from the video SDK test, it's really short, and we can check it kind of. I think it's about like 2, probably maximum 4 frames between the source and the receiver, but it depends on the network conditions as well. Well, actually, you can use it as a multi-viewer, but the design for the application is to actually record content, not to just preview it. So the preview is kind of beautiful, I think. Well, once the webinar is over, I'm going to just to talk with our quality assurance team about what can be done to what else can I do to improve the direct take before the official release, and I think it will be ready even probably today, but we will need some time, at least 1 hour after the webinar is over. That's kind of really simple UI, and we were focused on the idea to make a solution that just works and is easy to be configured. And I think based on the early feedback of the beta users, we are kind of luckily successful with this goal. The macOS version is probably will be there, but I think that the first version will be for the well, the plan is to have the professional version released first, then to see if there is a potential to port it to Linux, for example. And for the Mac, I don't know. We will see. About the different frame rates, well, if we disable the conversion and have the different frame rates on the input, then there is technically not possible to start all the channels at the same time and keep the frame accuracy. So we just need to start each and every channel separately. But later, when we will release the synchronous the scheduling for the recording, probably the option for the frame accuracy and matching the frame rates could be redundant because if it's planned to start at 12 a.m. and stop at, for example, 2 p.m., then there is no need to control the frame rate between different sources. We just need to enable the recording at the specified time and stop it. But for the moment, if the feeds are of different frame rates, then you have to enable the conversion. By the Stream Deck, what do you mean? I'm afraid I'm familiar with Streamlabs and with Deck, but not with the Stream Deck. Oh, sorry. Well, the Elgato devices are kind of tricky for the video SDK. They can be used, but there should be some registry settings to make them available as a source for the video SDK. Well, I see the buttons to control it. Uh, For now, for now there is no kind this feature is not supported, but let's discuss it, with Jens and Rob about what is the best scenario to use it and how you would like to have it implemented, and we will see if it is possible to integrate. Why not? And we will see if it's really important for the application like DirectTake to keep it simple and to keep it to keep it working the synchronous way. So let's discuss it. Yes, the REST API is under the progress right now, and probably this will be enough for the remote control integration. So once the release is done, give it a try, check what features are probably missing and what are done well or what are done not so well, and give me your feedback. I always try my best, and all our developers and all the team try our best to follow you and to make our products even better than they are right now. Well, I didn't expect that I will be done with the 30 minutes. It's kind of fast, but well, it signals that the application is really simple to describe. Almost all the features it has. So I like to thank every one of you who joined the webinar, and let's keep in touch. Just send me an email or send the email to support@medialux.com, and we'll be more than happy to assist you with the DirectTake and to get your feedback on what we can do for you. We are really happy to help you. Thank you. See you. Take care.